afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News Roundup, dateline 30th of September 2023. This week's headlines. A Smethwick sculpture is to celebrate women who wear hijabs. The political exchange research reveals the symbolic power of the veil. Iranian women are continuing to fight for their rights. And there's an explosive rise of ex-Muslims in India. An Indonesian TikToker was jailed for eating pork. Primary school girls in Iran celebrate the school opening with a song, and the principal was fired. The state says our kids don't exist. How LGBT life is changing in Italy. An Australian MP suggests recruiting God-believing immigrants, for the Defence Force. We start by going to our new correspondent on Islamic news. Welcome to Momus Najmi.
Hello there, Momus Najmi here with the news from the Islamic world. A new sculpture believed to be the first of its kind in the world has been designed to celebrate women who wear hijabs. The artwork, called Strength of the Hijab, was designed by Luke Perry and will be installed in the Smethwick area of the West Midlands in October. It was built by the charity Legacy West Midlands, which received a grant of £68,488. It is 5 meters tall, which is 16 feet tall, weighs about a ton, and is believed to be the first sculpture of a woman wearing the traditional Muslim head covering. The piece was defaced shortly after it was installed. Mr. Perry said, "There's a possibility that this piece could be controversial for many different reasons. I don't feel like any of them are valid, but there are a lot of people who object to the differences that we have in our communities and would like them to be more divided." In other news, new research from Policy Exchange reveals that Islamists have been permitted to dominate debate about religious clothing, both in the United Kingdom and abroad. This vacuum can lead to women and girls effectively having the hijab imposed upon them by their community activists or school, despite the fact that throughout much of the Islamic world, women are protesting the imposition of the hijab as an oppressive garment. Events in Iran have shown not only that the Islamic veil may be used as an instrument for the oppression of women, but also that its symbolism is part of an ideology that undermines both diverse Islamic viewpoints and Western liberal democracy. The report found out that some Islamist groups in the United Kingdom have sought to normalize the contestable view that Muslim women should be entirely covered except for the face and hands. Also, a public fear of accusations of Islamophobia can lead to Islamist groups shutting down debate on religious attire in the United Kingdom, despite their power being increasingly challenged in Iran. Also, that the United Kingdom, contrary to the claim made by some Islamist activists that it is an Islamophobic country, has no blanket bans targeting the burqa or hijab, unlike some European countries. But there are some situations in which Islamic headdress may be restricted due to health and safety or identification purposes. The Policy Exchange report recommended the following 4 points. The government should ensure that its guidance on school uniform provides greater clarity on what schools can and cannot do vis-a-vis banning or requiring certain religious attire. The government must ensure there are clear and consistent regulations for dress codes relating to religious attire across the NHS. The government must resist any definition of Islamophobia that inhibits public criticism of religious practices and traditions, including dress code. And lastly, that the government must refrain from publicly endorsing or promoting any specific religious attire, including events such as World Hijab Day. In 2018, the FCO reportedly distributed free hijabs to celebrate. In other news, the digital age has catalyzed a surging phenomena of ex-Muslims, particularly in India. See the video.
The explosive rise of ex-Muslims in India. The digital age has catalyzed a surging phenomenon of ex-Muslims, particularly in India, where Muslims constitute a significant minority. Thanks to the internet, many are breaking away from traditional religious views, sharing their experiences, and connecting with others who share similar sentiments, all while safeguarding their identities. Initially more prominent in Western nations, where groups such as Faith Freedom International and the Council of Ex-Muslims in Britain emerged, the rise of platforms like YouTube has amplified the voices of the Indian ex-Muslims who discuss religious topics and engage in debates. In India, many ex-Muslims, such as Kerala-based E.A. Jabbar, and social media personalities like ex-Muslim Sahil, Samir, Azad Ground, Zafar Heretic, Sachwala, and Faiz Alam continue to gain prominence. Despite Muslim leaders downplaying the significance of this movement, its growth is undeniable, with prominent figures like Maryam Namazi likening the internet's impact on Islam to how the printing press revolutionized Christianity. However, with this increasing visibility comes with threats of ostracization or even violence, leading many ex-Muslims to maintain their anonymity, especially in regions with deeply rooted religious sentiments.
Iranian women fight for their rights on what would have been Masha Amini's birthday. See the video.
Pillar of a religious dictatorship. It is like the Berlin Wall.
We spoke to the journalist who inspired thousands to cut their hair following the death of Gina Mahsa Amini in September 2022. Amini died while in the custody of Iran's morality police for breaking hijab rules. Her death sparked protests in Iran and across the globe.
Ask any women in Iran, how did they feel about their hair when they were like schoolgirls? We used to hate our hair because it was not easy to cover them up. And not only that, we've been told that your hair is the reason that men cannot control themselves, then they can rape you, and it's your fault. We've been told from the age of 7 that if we show our hair, then we're going to be hanged by our hair in the hell. I was like, wow, wait a minute. So then it's better to show a lot of hair because I'm not going to get killed easily.
Masih Alinejad has been exiled and targeted for kidnapping and assassination plots due to her criticism of Iran's treatment of women.
To me and millions of Iranians, the compulsory hijab is not just a small piece of cloth. It is the main pillar of a religious dictatorship. It is like the Berlin Wall. If we tear this wall down, the Islamic Republic won't exist.
In 2014, Alinejad launched My Stealthy Freedom, a campaign dedicated to sharing stories of women protesting the Iranian regime's hijab requirement. The campaign gained major momentum in 2022.
45 years ago, when Khomeini's regime actually took over, women started to use their hair and headscarves and their body to protest against the regime. Now the teenagers, well, they are actually fearless. They're telling the whole regime that, come and hang us, come and arrest us, come and bully us, but we're not going to cover our hair.
A year after Amini's murder, Iranian authorities continue to crack down on any dissidents. Still, protests persist in Iran and abroad.
Finally, the world understands that our hair represents dignity, freedom, woman-like freedom. When we say that we want to feel the wind in our hair, it means that we want to have a free Iran.
An Indonesian TikToker was sentenced to 2 years in jail for eating pork. See this video.
A TikToker has been sentenced by an Indonesian court to 2 years in jail after she posted a viral video where she said an Islamic phrase before eating pork. Lina Lutfiawati, better known as Lina Mukherjee, said Bismillah, a holy Arabic phrase which means in the name of God and is said by Muslims before eating. She then proceeded to eat pork, which is strictly forbidden in Islam. Lina was found guilty of inciting hatred and breaking blasphemy laws in Indonesia, where the majority of the population are Muslim. The 33-year-old has been given a £13,155 fine on top of her 2-year sentence. Her sentencing has had a mixed reaction on Indonesian social media, with some people agreeing and others arguing it's harsh compared to other crimes such as corruption.
Term started in Kerman, Iran, and girls going to Kimia Danesh school sang to celebrate. The principal got fired and the producers of the song were arrested. See the following video. But that's it for me. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Momus. You are watching Global Atheist News. Italian authorities are bringing in new measures targeting LGBT families and making it harder for them to have children. Many same-sex parents feel that a new law, which would make it illegal to have surrogacy abroad, is a personal attack against them. We have two options: to stay in Italy and face prison, or to run away. Husbands Claudio and David, not their real names, have a baby on the way through surrogacy. A woman in another country is carrying their son for them. The practice is illegal in Italy and in most of Europe, so couples have to travel to countries where it is legal, such as the US and Canada, and bring their babies back home. But the Italian Senate is set to approve a bill that would make surrogacy a universal crime, one so serious that it would be prosecuted even if committed abroad, like human trafficking or paedophilia. No other country has a similar ban. If the bill becomes law, couples like Claudio and David could face a fine of €1 million, £872,000, and up to 2 years in jail. I'm afraid that our child won't have his parents because we will be in jail, Claudio says. The couple are terrified about what might happen to them and their child and have asked us not to reveal their identities. They fear someone in the Italian government could find out who they are and target them. They're getting ready to escape, seeking political asylum in more LGBT-friendly European countries. David is learning Dutch and Maltese in preparation. I feel like I'm being forced into exile just for wanting to become a father, he says. It would be an incredibly difficult move for the couple, who would miss their supportive community. Our families and friends are all really looking forward to meeting the baby, Claudio says, and they are heartbroken at the thought of being forced out of Italy. I don't want to leave my country. I am proud to be Italian, David says. I'm trying my best to be a good citizen, and now I'm being treated like a criminal, just because I want to have a family. The surrogacy bill is part of the socially conservative agenda of Giorgia Meloni, Italy's first female prime minister, whose Brothers of Italy party is a direct political descendant of a movement formed by members of Mussolini's fascist party after the war. She describes herself as a Christian mother and is a firm believer that a child should only be raised by a mother and a father. This is a country where the influence of the Catholic Church has always been strong. Gay marriage is illegal, and same-sex couples have fewer rights than in most of Western Europe. Artificial insemination or adoption are not options for LGBT couples in Italy, so for many, surrogacy abroad is the only way to have a family. The federal opposition's spokesperson for defence personnel, Luke Howarth, has suggested tapping into immigrants who have stronger faith in God as part of a plan to drive recruitment for the Defence Force. See this video from Rationalists Australia.
And in relation to the ADF, that's an important, in relation to the gap year, that's an important program as well, that I think there's a lot of opportunity for government there, and I was just talking to the chief about it as well. I know in my own electorate, there's a migrant family that migrated to North Lakes in my electorate from South Africa. And there's a couple of things about migrant families that I've noticed that when I'm at, swearing in ceremonies, one, they all have a much stronger faith in God than what the census currently shows. I think in the last census, we had 44% of Australians that identified as Christian, 54% that identified people of faith. Often at these ceremonies, when you get up and you have all these new citizens, 90% of them probably swear under God their allegiance to Australia. But it's interesting too, because they also are more, I think, ready to serve.
Stay on this channel to watch Tercia and I chat with guest Sean Gilmore, an artist and science enthusiast who likes to sharpen his skills at arguing with fanatics. You can join in. It's a live show. And don't forget to watch Views on the News, the show where our opinionated panel give their views on the items we've just reported about. This has been Global Atheist News. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you for watching.